Since I know this question is going to come up and the video request is going to definitely come up, so I might as well make it now because now's as good a time as any. I figured I would talk about my hockey career journey and how it all started for me and kind of where it all started and when I started playing, how long I've been playing and all of that stuff. And so just kind of sit back and enjoy. Gonna dive into it. So, where was I? As long as I can remember, I wanted to play hockey. It was all started when I was like really, really young. I can't remember the exact age, but like I remember specifically there was a kid in school named Brian Foley, and he played goalie for the Bristol Blazers. His brother played. They would always play out in the street, and I used to watch from my window, just being like this weird little kid, just like, what are they doing out there? You know what I mean? Just like out there, like watching. And then just like go and talk to my pretend best friend and be like, Jason, we're going to be hockey players one day. I had no clue. I was such a shy little kid. I just was begging for attention and just to be noticed. Like my parents would always fight. They didn't get along. It was just weird, right, for me as a kid. So, well, fast forward. My parents got divorced. My mother ended up marrying a very wealthy man who... he just had lots of money. He owned a cable company, very smart guy, come from a wealthy family. His like dad was like the mayor of the richest town in Pennsylvania, which is Yardley, Pennsylvania. My parents were divorced, and my mom ended up marrying into this wealthy family. And his kids, Nick and Jenny, my stepbrother and sister, who I haven't seen in years, but because my mom actually is divorced from that man now, who turned out to be not such a great guy, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. He did teach me many things about life and to be a man that my real father did not teach me. So in any case, his kids were athletic, right? They played sports. They played baseball, soccer, and all that stuff. I didn't play any sports. My sister did gymnastics, my older sister. I never did anything. I'm talking about I'm 8 or 9 years old. I've never played a sport. I sucked at baseball. I sucked at everything. I was just an artist. I drew a lot and just hung out in my room and talked to my pretend best friend. And I didn't have any friends. I was just a very recluse younger kid. And so I remember we moved to Bristol Borough. And this is when my mom had now remarried. And we used to go to these like public skating things, right? These public skating things, you know, you take the cone back then. They didn't have those like little push cart things they have now. So I would take that cone and skate around the ice and just, I wanted to skate. It was like, okay, I can probably do this. And so I'd be like skating, whatever. My mom, you know, I knew I wanted to play hockey though. Like I would bring it up, like hockey, you know, Brian Foley's doing it and his brother, and they play for the Bristol Blazers. I just remember their jerseys looking so cool. You know, like the number and having the B with the flame, and then like, you know, just the colors and just having the uniform and being a part of something. I didn't know this as a kid that I wanted to be a part of something and I wanted to be noticed. I just was a kid that just wanted to be accepted by people, right? But just not knowing that as a kid, I'm just like, I just want to do something, I guess, you know? So, as a very young kid, I was, you know, in that situation where, like, my mom's like, no, you're not playing hockey. Because I was a scrawny, little, 90-pound, 80-pound kid, maybe, well, you're probably like a 50-pound kid, literally, just stick and bones, skinny. And not much different now. In any case, excuse me. So in any case, years go by, maybe like a year, and we're introduced to my new stepfather's family. Now his family, obviously, like I said, very rich. They had, it was Cindy and Kevin. That was my step aunt and uncle. And they had a son named Ryan. And Ryan played travel hockey for a really good hockey team. He was a very good hockey player. And I remember being at the pool. I would never forget this day as long as I live for the rest of my life. I was at the pool. We were at the pool. And they were like, oh, Billy skates. Billy's learning how to skate. He goes to public skating and skates and somehow hockey got brought up. I don't know. Oh, bragging about this. Oh, Ryan plays travel hockey. And I'm just like, oh, I skate with a cone. And I'm like, Mom, I want to play hockey. I'll never forget, that was my exact words. Mom, I want to play hockey. And if it was not for my stepfather and my step uncle, Kevin, it would never have happened, because they were both like, let him play. Because these guys are wealthy men, and they know how to push a young man into being a man. My father did not know how to do this. He was just had issues, all right, my real father. God bless his soul, but he just didn't have it, right, to be an actual father. Vietnam messed him up real bad, and drugs and everything else. Why my mother divorced him, right? So like, I was in that situation. So those two men had convinced my mother to let me play in the gear. Well, how do we afford it? My stepfather was like, how do we afford it? Like, kind of thing. Like, I'm assuming that's how that conversation went, because the man was literally rich. So my mom, is being a blue-collared mother that she is still gonna like be like, not take handouts, right? And be like, well, how are we gonna pay? And how are we gonna get the gear? And Kevin says, well, Ryan has all this old gear in a garage. Let's go take a look. I'll never forget this day where we went into that garage, and a smile from ear to ear. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, because that day brought me so much joy, because I knew at that moment right there that I was going to be a hockey player. And they gave me everything. They gave me the shin pads, the pants, the gloves were blue, white, and red, white, and blue. I got everything, every piece of gear you can think of, a helmet, a CCM helmet. We're talking about 1996 here. So think about the helmet that I had on and the gloves. And I'll never forget the gloves, right? Everything was blue. Blue pants, don't remember the shin pads, probably CCM, maybe Jofa. The helmet was CCM for sure. Didn't fit me, it was blue. The gloves were blue, red, and white. I'll never forget it. Never, ever forget. I wish I had them. I don't. So that was my start, and I went into a hockey clinic that year. I went into my first hockey clinic. I couldn't even think of what to do. I had no idea. Next thing you know, I'm skating. Turns out, young little Billy, who couldn't do anything, is the best skater in the league within like 6 months. I just killed it. It's all I did. I found my thing. I found the thing that got me noticed. I found the thing that people would go, whoa, look at that kid. And like, it just took over everything. It took over just like YouTube does now, and motorcycles, and playing hockey now still to this day at 41 years old. It still brings me joy to when I make a play or do something cool where everybody's on the bench like, whoa. Even just hitting the post. We're playing post out there with the kids. And I whack the post and they all go, whoa, from like, because there's no goalie. And it just it brings me so much joy, you know what I mean? So, got into the hockey clinic, and I wasn't really good, but I was a really, really good skater. Like, I'm talking about, like, really good for this time period. Like, the skates weren't great and stuff. So then, but I wasn't smart. I'm not a smart kid. I'm bad at school. I hate school. I don't want to be in school. I want to play hockey. I want to draw. I don't care about school. I was bad at school, bad at math. I just wasn't good at it, right? So my stepfather told me, I'll never forget this. He said to me, if you want those, because I loved, now at this point, I'm on a team, right? I'm getting on, everybody's going to get on a team. It's a very high school hockey league, but we're talking about 6th grade. I'm in 6th grade. Also, from 3rd grade to 6th grade, I completely lied to everybody about being a hockey player. I wanted to be a hockey player so bad. And my mom wanted nothing to do with it until my stepfather finally convinced her. But like, I would always go to school and like, I play hockey. I didn't play hockey. I manifested it. At that young age, I manifested my hockey career. And it turns out, I didn't have to wait long. Because by 6th grade, I remember kids going to my games because I would invite them, like, hey, I got a game at this time at Grundy, whatever, and people would show up, and I just loved how, like, the girls were like, you're a hockey player? And it's like, you know what I mean? And I never ever got hooked up with a girl because of this, but, like, it was just the attention. And that's just how it was for me, because I was so, just, like, nobody, like, I didn't have friends, and I didn't have any skills, I wasn't smart. I didn't get picked on, because one thing I could do was fight, which was something I like to do and hit. My mom was like, why do you keep going after these big kids? I'm like, I don't care who they are, how big they are. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Mom, like, you know, like a little kid. Just like literally, I would leap at kids because they're twice my size and knock them on their ass because my balance was so good. I could skate so much better than everyone else. They didn't really have to necessarily worry about my size. They couldn't catch me. And they couldn't knock me off my skates or off the puck. So my game was back checking, fighting, hitting, and just getting under the skin of people and scoring goals. I was pretty good at that too. I didn't have a really good shot, but I developed that later. So yeah, I remember playing on this, like, you know, team. We weren't good. It was just like entry level stuff. But it was for a high school team, Carmel Egan Catholic. And it was just low level. I wasn't good, right? But I did start to get good. I went to all the training camps, Can-Am out there, the Canadian American development camps and stuff like that. And then I got on a travel team. I just continued to develop my skills and train, and all I did was play hockey. And then before you know it, I was one of the best players in the league. And I was starting to get looked at by the JV coaches and the varsity coaches at like a freshman level hockey. And I was just starting to get really good, and I was getting awards. Like, I remember the first award I got, I'll never forget it. It was the Spirit of the Eagle Award, which is awarded to the player who has the most spirit. The player who is not giving up, right? Because all I did was hockey. And around this time, too, is when I started to get into the NHL, which is like, you know, it's like Flyers. I love the Flyers, right? And I'll never forget my stepfather, because my grades sucked. Like I said, I was bad at school. My stepfather said, because I was starting to get in the NHL, my favorite player was Sergei Fedorov. I love those Nike skates, those white Nike skates. I had to have them, and I had to have the gloves, and I had to have the stick and everything he had. And my stepfather said, if you start getting good grades, I will buy you, every time you get an A, you will get a new piece of kit. So, or a new piece of gear. So, okay, that works for me. I'll try to do that for the Nike gloves. Before you know it, I was all Nike now. I had the Nike Bauer helmet. I had the Nike check gloves. I had the white Nike skates that Fedorov had. I was the best player on the ice. I was scoring goals. I was the alternate captain. Next thing you know, I was in freshman, and I was playing JV and varsity hockey. I was just that good. But I did get hurt a couple of times. I got a bad concussion. At this time, the league was different. The leagues were different. At 15U, 14U, we were hitting hard. And I got ran down by a couple of real big kids in like high school and travel team. I played for the first Grundy Senators team ever. And out in Bristol, which is now a big, huge team, which is like a travel team out there now. But it wasn't like that then. I was on the first team. I was the assistant captain. And I was number 13, and my mom hated it. That's where number 13 comes from. 70 was my high school number, and I have not picked my number recently. I don't know. The team I just made, the B1 men's league team, I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think number I should be. The coolest number wins. I don't know. I could be 10. My birthday's January 10th. I could be 84. I'm born in 1984. I could go 13. I could go 70 again. I could go random like 38 or some crap. I don't know. I'm also going to play defense this year. I love defense. I love Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson is my favorite player right now. I love this guy. He's so good. His brother, all of them. I love the Hudson brothers. The future of hockey. Anyways, where did I start? What position? Defense. That's how I learned how to skate backwards better than everyone else. I could basically skate backwards better than everybody could skate forward. So the problem with it was I wasn't good at defense. I wasn't good at stick checking. I wasn't big. I wasn't good in the corners. So the coach, when I started to get to these higher level high school teams and travel teams, my coaches decided, he's all over the place, this kid. I knew how to positional play, but I was so fast at back checking, and I was so quick at getting on the puck and so good at not getting knocked off the puck, they decided, let's just teach this kid how to win draws and make him a center. So that's where I became a center. I played wing very, very rarely. I was really good at faceoffs because I was a shit talker. I would just get under the skin and you would lose every time. Really good at the draw. And yeah, so I became center because I could just be all over, right? The coach was like, they could get the puck and be at the red line, and he could be at the goal line from the offensive zone and still catch them, because that's how fast I would back check and be on. There was no team in existence still to this day who's going to get a breakaway when I'm on the ice. It ain't happening. I'm catching you. Unless I'm literally down, like my blade falls out of my skate or something, you're not getting a breakaway with me on the ice. If I start back checking hard like I can, that was my game. I was a penalty killer. I started to develop skills with poke checking, and then I started to get a shot in my varsity years. I started to get, when I started to play like A-League hockey and stuff. Unfortunately, as a young man, I started to make money, hanging out with the wrong people, and I had 2 or 3 concussions at this point, and it just wasn't on my things to list to do. I was going to go to Penn State. I actually got picked up by Penn State's high school, or I actually got picked up by the Lions. I was going to be a Nittany Lion. I could not wait to be a Nittany Lion, and then I got my 4th concussion, and that was it. They said to me, you get hit again like this, you're going to be brain dead, dude. And I still to this day have post-concussion syndrome. I take medicine for it. I get migraines. I just had too many really bad concussions. Truman High School, they were the epitome of a dirty team. They were who picked the dirtiest team in the 2000s, right? Maybe the Sabres with Matthew Barnaby, or like Darius Kasparaitis, or one of these schmucks, or Scott Stevens, dirty hit on Lindros type of shit. Yeah, I wanted to be a Lindros. I just wouldn't have the size. I love that Legion of Doom, man. I love the Flyers when they went to the Cup and played Detroit and got swept. That was crazy. Never forget it. Had that Barra Supreme stick too, although it was way too heavy for me. I couldn't shoot it, but I loved it. I was Lindros out there. Yeah, so that last concussion playing Truman High School, kid put me into the boards from about 3 foot away from the boards from the back. I flew in head first, blacked out on the ice, concussion. That was it. That was the last game I played in my senior year of high school. I no longer was in the Carmel Egan Catholic school system. I was now going to Votech school, and I was no longer allowed to play for my team that I played for my entire career, which was the Carmel Egan Catholic Eagles. It was a Catholic school. It was a traditional hockey school. It was literally hockey. And it was the state championship Pennsylvania school for years. The Flyers Cup championship for years. They were the best. The system's not that good anymore. And then, so I played for that team for my whole career in that system, in that organization. And then I had to play for the Ben Salem Owls. And I remember walking in the locker room and the kids are like smoking joints and drinking beers. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it just killed my career, and then I got hurt by that kid, and that was it. And then I didn't end up going to college. I ended up working in a body shop. The rest is kind of history. I became body shop owner and all that stuff. You can find on my other channel. Nothing to do with hockey, so we're not going to talk about it here. But then I continued on with men's league and just high level leagues like that. I played 18U for the Senators for a little while, and then that was it. And I just played men's league stuff, A League and B1, and yeah, that was it. That's my hockey journey, guys. And now here I am at 41, still in love with the game, still in love with CCM. And this is where my love with CCM over Bauer comes from. I did have a couple things Bauer throughout my career. I have Bauer skates now. We will go over my hockey bag in the next video, so you guys should subscribe. But that's my hockey story and my journey, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, share, subscribe for more hockey content. We're going to keep doing this because the channel is growing. Thank you, guys. The channel's growing, and I got lots of stuff to talk about. I can go for days. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that video. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all. Peace.